Alright, hi guys and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. As you all know, I had a baby, so that would explain the absence. So today I'm actually going to be doing my 3-month update for my baby and myself. So we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. I have some notes here on my phone to try to keep me on track. Hopefully this video won't be too long, but the first 3 months there was a lot that happened. So I'm going to try not to leave anything out. I guess you can leave comments below or whatever if you have any other questions, or reach out to me on Instagram. So here we go. So the first month I would say was the most challenging. The birth story is actually going to be coming further down the road. I really want to put in some time and effort and just thought into editing how I'm going to edit his birth vlog. We didn't get a lot of footage. Well, we did get a lot of footage, but we didn't get like some of the more important things that I wanted to get, like just clips of me like laboring with Wiley and just like those first pictures and stuff of me holding him for the first time and all of that, which will be explained in the birth video as to why those things are non-existent. But yes, it was very challenging. Long story short, I ended up having a emergency C-section due to some complications that I was having. So stay tuned to figure out what all happened with me. Also on HappilyEverHendley podcast, we talk about the birth story. So if you just want to audibly listen and hear about it, then check out our podcast. So back to the video. So he was sleeping a lot. We had to wake him up quite a few times to eat. He wouldn't wake up on his own necessarily. He was just doing a lot of sleeping. He was, very like hesitant to eat. He was getting colostrum from me. I was trying to nurse at that point. And it was just very hard. It was very tiring, and keep waking up, being waken up by doctors and nurses coming in to check on us and check on him and all this other stuff. So it was just very crazy that first couple of days in the hospital, and then like just the weeks after, trying to stay on a schedule with waking him up every, I think they said 5 hours we had to wake him up if he hadn't eaten in 5 hours, to wake him up to eat and all of that stuff. So that was crazy. And then his appetite began to pick up slowly. Day by day he would begin eating a little bit more, not every day, but like every couple of days he would increase how much he was eating. And so it began to get a lot for me. I am like a control freak, so I like to see visibly what and how much he's eating. So trying to nurse him really didn't work well for me, just because I couldn't see what was going on, how much was he actually getting. I couldn't really read him when it came to like him being full and like falling off. I only had that happen like once when I was nursing him. So yeah, it was just very unclear for me, and I was like, I'd rather know that he ate a specific amount than to just kind of be guessing. So that's what happened with that. I was pumping. I switched to pumping within the first month, just because I was exhausted and I needed to be able to have help with feeding him. So we started to supplement with formula as well. He started on, I want to say, Similac in the hospital, and he didn't like it is what I was told. I don't really remember a whole lot of what happened in the hospital, but I know when we got home he started with Enfamil, and then he seemed to be liking that better according to what my husband says. So of course with formula feeding, comes the bottle feeding. I think I just said that if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to stay on stay on track, but my mind is just like all over the place. Anyways, so he was eating about 1 ounce to 1.5 ounce each feeding, and then so he was doing that. I don't remember how often at that point, but he would be I think we were sticking to like the 5-hour thing until he kind of built up his own schedule, and then I don't remember how often he was eating then. But anyways, he was hospitalized for the first time within his first month of life. It was so sad. It was actually when he was 1 week old. He we were going to take him to his first doctor's appointment, and it seemed as if he was having a seizure, just the way that he was like shaking and not breathing and things like that. So it really scared us. We called 911 and all of this, and then he was fine. And so we still took him to the hospital, and you know, they just basically ran all these tests on him. We stayed overnight, the whole shebang. It was very sad. And then they said that he has acid reflux, so that's what was causing, you know, him to stop breathing for a minute. You know, he had the milk trying to come up through his nostrils and out of his mouth all at the same time, so he couldn't breathe. So he's fine. Actually, I'll, you know, get to it later, but his acid reflux has gotten better. But at first it was very bad, and he was spitting up all the time, and it seemed as if he just could not keep anything down. But you know, they gave us some tips and tricks on how to remedy that, to help him keep more food down. So we did those things, and yeah, so that was Christopher's first trip to the hospital after being born and then having to stay the night. So at his first doctor's appointment after he got out of the hospital, he went back to the doctor, and he weighed 8 pounds and 4 ounces. He was born 6 pounds 7 ounces, so he had gained a couple of pounds, and he was 21 inches long, and I think when he was born he was 19 inches long. So he had grown a little bit at his first doctor's appointment. At that point, at 1 month, he was loving bath time, like loving bath time. He would, you know, kick and splash in the water and just all kinds of things. And then he started to slowly develop like a loose schedule. It wasn't anything that was like down to the T, but he did have like a loose schedule going. Obviously, he was born in December, so he experienced his first Christmas, his first New Year's. Those were fun. He didn't really, you know, he got to be around a lot of family during that time, and it was just really, everybody was excited because that was most of their first time meeting him. So that was really exciting. His first trip out of the house after we got home, besides the hospital, was he went to Target. And so he became a regular at Target very quickly because I did not like staying in the house so much. So anytime I could get out and get help, like with the stroller and all of that, we went to Target. He also went to church for the first time during his first month, and he got to meet both of his great grandmothers during that time. He spent some time with my mom, and also he had his first night away from his parents within, I want to say, his first couple of days. I want to say maybe at 2 weeks he spent his first night away from us. He went with our godparents. I actually was re-hospitalized, so that's what happened with that. So I guess that will go ahead and kick us into my first month. I was extremely swollen. My legs and my feet specifically were very swollen. My feet were like loaves of bread, and the top of my foot would like just like jiggle. Every step I would take, it would just like jiggle on the top like jello, and it just hurt so bad to walk. Yeah, it was already hard to walk enough because of the C-section, and trying to, you know, sit straight up and wear my little, whatever it's called. Oh, it's called a binder. Wear that and all of that, you know. Bending was hard, picking stuff up was hard, squatting down. Our sofa is kind of low a little bit, and it's like I picked the wrong time to have a modern sofa. It was just the worst, trying to sit on the sofa and stand back up. And then what else? Oh, showering was really hard just because I like my showers extremely hot. And then it was just like, I don't know, it was just like dealing with the soreness still. Because I labored so long and Christopher was like stuck in my pelvis, something about the steam just would make my like lower body just like hurt bad, and I don't know. So I was just like, I can't, like, every time I got in the shower, I would make sure that my husband was nearby so that in case I fell or anything, he would be right there. Yeah, so I had to go back to the hospital because I had an infection, which was part of the reason why I had to have a C-section. Well, yeah, that was part of the reason why. So they wanted, I had like 102 fever for like, I want to say maybe 12, 14 hours or so. And I just literally had never felt my body shutting down like that. So I actually was like, I almost need to call 911. I think we should go to the hospital immediately. My husband packed up everything for the baby, and we just went. Went to the emergency room, and I got help. I mean, they kept me overnight, and that's why Christopher stayed with our godparents. And then I felt fine after I, came back home and everything. Well, as fine as I could, being that I had just delivered a baby a week prior to, or a week and a half prior to. But yeah, so I came back home. Then we ended up needing to, it came time for me to remove the Band-Aid off of my, even thinking about it. It came time to remove the, it was like a honeycomb Band-Aid strip over my incision. And that was very painful. I had been there, and it was just like, I don't want to take it off. It was very, very, very sticky. So it was like pulling masking tape off of a cut, and that was not so easy to do. And we just had to like pull some and then stop and rest and just not even touch it, and then come back and pull it off a little bit more. Then finally it was gone. But yeah, I had about 3.5 weeks of bleeding after having Christopher. Although I didn't deliver vaginally, I still did have some bleeding. And then I had my regular cycle come on. After that 3 weeks, it was like 3.5 weeks, and then it was like a couple days of nothing, and then my regular period came on. So it was just like short-lived. And then yeah, I got right onto Depo after having him. Once my regular cycle came, then they were willing to go ahead and administer my Depo shot. So that's the birth control I am on now. And yeah, my first time out driving was at 3 weeks and 6 days after delivery. So that was my first time actually being by myself since having the baby. And I went to just go pick up some Chinese food, but that was the first time I drove in the car by myself, and just had been by myself. And it was just, I remember that night. It was very memorable. I didn't go too far. It was just right up the street, but it was, I don't know, I just had time to just think, and everything was just, quiet, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really had a baby. And yeah, it just really hit me at that point. So that was memorable. I wanted to mention that. And then, y'all, okay, so for month 1, I lost so much hair. Postpartum shedding has probably been the most traumatic thing. After, that's number 2 to the C-section. But literally my hair coming out as much as it did was so saddening to me. When I delivered, I had crochets in, and when I took them out, I was just so surprised at how much hair came out. Just mainly my edges are gone, so you guys can't really see because of how I have my hair styled now. And I didn't really like lose hair anywhere else. It's literally my edges. It's like my baby snatched them out when he was coming out. So that's what happened. So yeah, that was all of month 1 for me and for Christopher. So in month 2, I was still pumping. As far as his feedings go, I would give him at least 1 full breast milk bottle a day, and then the rest would be formula. He went up a diaper size that month. He was growing out of a lot of his clothes, and it was kind of sad. I literally think I was the most sad about him going up a diaper size, because size 1 diapers are so small, and it's like size 2 seems so large, but now it's like he's about to be a size 3, and it's just, I can't. I don't know why that makes me sad, because it's just like he's going to grow. He's growing every single day, but it's just like, I think it hits me the most when I realize I'm putting on a larger diaper. I just can't do it. So yes, back to his feedings. So he was eating about 2.5 ounces every other hour, and that was very difficult because with his acid reflux, we had to hold him up for about 30 minutes after he eats, and so it was like 2 hours goes by super fast when you have to hold somebody up for 30 minutes, make more milk or bottles or whatever, wash dishes to have clean bottles and all of that. So it was very challenging. We ended up purchasing more bottles so we wouldn't have to wash as often, and I could at least have enough while my husband was at work. Like, we had enough for him to be at work, but it was like, you know, we didn't calculate the time that it would take him to come home, you know, and then the possibility of Christopher wanting to eat during that time, and that's where it got tricky, because it's like he's in transition to coming home, but I'm out of bottles, and now the baby wants to eat, and I need to wash bottles, sterilize them, make formula, blah blah blah, the whole nine. It was crazy. So we got more bottles for that. And we realized at that point that Christopher had a tongue tie. So that means that the piece of flesh under his tongue was too short, and it was constricting his tongue to the bottom of his mouth too much, which was making it harder for him to latch on when nursing, latch on while bottle feeding. Like, it was just hard for him to eat altogether. So, and he wouldn't eat a lot because it was difficult for him to eat, which meant that he needed to eat more often. So what we did was we went to the ENT. He immediately clipped it. I thought it was going to be like a, let me look at it and you come back and get this procedure done. No. So they clipped his tongue tie same day as the first visit, and they immediately told me to, get a bottle ready prior to them clipping it. They clipped it, and then they told me to feed him right away so that the blood could clot under his tongue. It was a lot. But he immediately started to be able to use his tongue better to latch onto his bottle, so we saw the results right away. So he got that clipped, and he slowly increased the eating 4 ounces at a time, and then he would eat every 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So yeah, with all this extra eating, he went up to 11 pounds at his 2-month checkup. He was 11 pounds, 9 ounces, and he was 23 inches long. So at his 2-month appointment, he got his shots, and he didn't cry for very long. He did well. I could not hold him while doing it, so I just sat in the corner, and his dad held him and was there to comfort him during his shots. So yeah. Oh, back to the tongue tie release real quick, sorry. We had to massage under his tongue to make sure that the tissue didn't bind back down while it was trying to heal. So we had to stick our finger under his tongue and do this little sweeping motion to make sure that the scar tissue didn't heal back on, They just wanted to keep it separated. So we did that for about 2 weeks. But back to the fun stuff about Christopher. He started to laugh more often, and that's kind of, I'm sure he had done it before, but I can vividly remember him babbling and laughing a lot more once he hit that 2-month mark. He remembered who we were, he could remember our voices and stuff like that, which I'm sure was between the 1 and 2 month mark. I just can remember it much more at 2 months. He started to kick and stuff when he would see us or hear us, and so yeah. He started to not sleep through the night, and I brought it up at his doctor's appointment. And so what she said was she would recommend us to continue to swaddle him because we had stopped, because within a few weeks it seemed like he would just always come out of his swaddle, and I just thought that that was like a safety issue, because I was like, he could cover his face with the swaddle and all of that. So what we did, I can actually show you guys, hold on one second. So I'm gonna actually show you what happened. So we went from using this like muslin regular swaddle that we had to swaddle ourselves to using these Swaddle Me swaddles. And so it's like a little cocoon for the baby. So we put him in here, we put his, you know, arms in there and everything. Oops. We put him in here, and then we wrap his body up so his arms stay down by his side, because babies have a startle reflex, and that is them like lifting their hands up. It scares them and they start to shake, and then they start screaming and all this other stuff. So with him being in the regular swaddle that we were tying, he could get out of that, and then he would start crying, and then he, you know, would take a while to calm back down and go back to sleep. But since he's been using the Swaddle Me swaddles, this is actually his second one. He had to go up a size, but he sleeps through the night thanks to the swaddles. So I'm glad his doctor told us about that. So yeah, he started to follow a schedule a little bit more closely at 2 months, as far as his, like, you know, nap schedule and everything. And even now his nap schedule is pretty much the same as it was at 2 months. However, little Christopher now hates bath time, and yeah, it's lots of screaming and dramatic, just everything, because he likes to be sung to. So we try to sing to him while we're giving him a bath to try to like distract him, but he knows what's going on. He does not like taking a bath. So that's where we are. He also tried applesauce for the first time. That was his first like solid, or whatever you want to call it. His grandmother bought some to the house for him to have, and that's what he had. So he liked it. There's a video that I'll probably put it up separately, of him trying applesauce for the first time. So yeah. As far as me, month 2, my swelling went away, and that was a thank you Jesus moment. And it just allowed me to begin to like help out around the house a little bit more. Everything had been pretty much on Wiley for a while, because while I was pregnant, Wiley did a lot of the housework and cooking and things like that. So it, like, I felt guilty because I was like, the baby's here and I should be able to help now, but that was not the case. So what, you know, of course he understood and was just like trying to talk me down and tell me it's okay, you know, you just had a baby, you just had major surgery. But I was just like, I'm a woman that wants to clean and cook and do regular things, and I just can't. So yeah, my appetite actually started to come back a little bit. I still, after delivery, was eating like very, very small meals. My insides just were still trying to resettle, and I didn't know how long it took. I want to say by month 2, everything had kind of settled back into where it was supposed to be, but for a while it was just like everything just felt like it was just tumbling from side to side. Whenever I would just turn on my side and sleep on my side, it was just the worst. That was the part I did not like of recovery. So yeah, and then I actually was able to cook our first dinner by myself. I didn't need Wiley to put something in the oven or take something out for me. I cooked the whole dinner by myself, and so that was a major accomplishment, and that felt really good. And so that just made me feel like do it again and again and again. And of course I had to take breaks, but at least I knew that it was possible, and I did it once, so I knew I could do it again. So yes, so now we're on to month 3, which is where we currently are. We're about to go into month 4, which is why I wanted to hurry up and get this video done. But Now at 3 months, Christopher enjoys tummy time. He works with his hands, like he'll move his hands more often and grab at stuff, especially like his parents. He'll grab at Wiley's beard, or he'll pull on my shirt or whatever. He just like grabs at us more. He starts to rip his bib off and anything. He's just like pulling at stuff. So he's trying to hold his bottle a little bit, but I think he's not fully grasped that like you're not gonna keep eating if you don't hold your arm up. So we hold it for him, but he's trying to figure out like how does this work. He's doing his tripod sit now. He also likes to just lean forward, and like the first time he did it, he just was like on his face, and we were like, what are you doing? So we have to watch him very closely when he tries to sit up, because he often will change and lean forward instead of just sitting straight up. So he got some new bottles, which allowed us to go ahead and increase his feedings. So he now eats 6 ounces, and he'll do that every 2 to 4 hours. Within the last month, within the last 2 weeks actually, he started eating rice cereal in his bottles, and we do rice cereal in the first bottle of the day, in the last bottle of the day, and then in the middle, like when I get off from work or whatever, when he eats, he'll have like a fruit or a vegetable, like the pureed food, solid. So I call it a solid. I know it's not solid, but whatever. He'll have like a pureed little baby food in between. So he's eating like bigger meals 3 times a day. So yeah, he's not been sleeping through the night within the last 2 weeks, only because he's going through a growth spurt, and it's like a major one. Like all of his clothes are just day by day fading out. What fits and what doesn't fit, it's crazy. So yeah, once this whole thing with the coronavirus is over, we are going to buy him some more clothes. He has some larger clothes, but he was in his, like he had the largest amount of 3 to 6 months, and those are no longer about to be fitting. So that's where we are with that. At night, when it's time to go to bed, he loves to scream. Like after we say our prayers, he'll just wait, and then he'll just scream very loud, and we'll turn on the white noise for him and everything, and he tries to out scream the white noise machine. And it's so funny because it's like we just fall asleep, because it's like you're tied up in your swaddle, you can't do anything, and then he'll just do like leg lifts and just like kick, his crib. It's crazy, but it's funny. So that's what he does at bedtime now. And he has tried peaches, squash, pears, peas, sweet potato, mango, and carrots in applesauce so far. So it doesn't seem like he's allergic to any of those things. Peas seem like it made his stomach hurt a little bit because he didn't have a bowel movement for a while. And then peaches seem like they're a little too acidic, just because of his skin. I'm not sure if cradle cap is trying to go away or what is going on. Speaking of, cradle cap was a major issue. We're gonna jump back for a second. Cradle cap was a major issue in month 1, and it was just driving me crazy. I tried everything. I tried breast milk, I tried oil, I tried washing his hair and just scrubbing it out every time I saw stuff. It was just crazy. So I mean, the best thing the doctor could tell me was just let it run its course. So I tried to just do that. But yes, I tried everything while it was running its course. But yeah, the biggest thing in month 3 has been breastfeeding. So I have decided to stop breastfeeding at 3 months. And I guess we'll go ahead, that was the last thing on him. So we'll go ahead and go into me. So me at 3 months as mom, I started back working. I, was able to resume regular activities around the house and, even outside the house, going places, whatever. I could walk fine, do what I needed to do, bench, squat, whatever. So I could move regularly again without as much pain and discomfort. So that allowed me to start back exercising with my friend a couple times a week, things like that. And then I just began to make time for my hobbies. So doing all of those things, it was like I didn't feel like I could continue to breastfeed just because being tied to like a breast pump took a lot of time. And then I just wasn't really producing a lot of milk to begin with. So I was just like, I'm just not going to do it. So what actually helped me to, I guess, get rid of my milk, I fell sick and I had an upper respiratory infection. They gave me some medicine for it. She told me that it would decrease my supply, which wasn't much at all. I was probably pumping like 3 ounces and it would take me 30 minutes to get that. So I was just like, I can't. This is not worth it. The stress of being like on a breast pump, like while your baby wants to be on you and you can't really hold them effectively because you got these things on you. I was just like, I think he's fine. I mean, I feel like God gave us the access to formula and stuff, for a reason. So I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel sad about it. I just feel like more free now. I don't have to worry about it being a part of my daily routine. And it's not like it was enough for him to like get a whole meal. Like when he was younger, I could at least do 1 full bottle for him, but now it's not enough. I don't know if I could pump 6 ounces. So when the milk supply dried up with the medicine, I was fine. And I was contemplating at first, should I try to, take supplements? Should I try to eat the salmon, drink the body armor, but do all these things to try to get the milk back? But I was just like, I think I'm done with that. So gave it a good, 3 months. Like I said, we're almost to 4 months now. And he's been doing just fine, especially since we've incorporated the rice cereal now, and he has his solids, like, pureed food. Yeah, he's getting enough. So he's still gaining weight, he's still healthy. I'm fine. So yes, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I guess I'll just show you Christopher now. So 1 second. Alright, so I went to get Christopher and he was asleep. Of course, I figured that was gonna happen. But here is little baby Christopher Kai. Just waking up from a nap. He don't know if he wants to smile or not. But this is my little turkey baby. Nice and plump. Say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Say bye-bye.